So thank you very much, Sister Edie. We're going to move on now to introduce Sister Sally John, Sister Dr. Sally John. And a more complete bio, as I mentioned, is on our website, on the resources page, and it will be included in the resources. Many times in the chat, people were wondering if they were going to get the resources. Yes, we will be sending out recording and all the resources, the links, and both of our presenters have provided resources, and we have done a very good job at Global Sisters Report. I credit my colleagues to running columns that have been written by sisters about the need for mental health and wellness leading up to this presentation. We will repeat those links as well. So Sister Dr. Sally John is a psychiatrist, and she is a member of the Sisters of St. John the Baptist. She's an associate professor of psychiatry at the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Medical Sciences in Sevagram, India. She has spent 2 decades in clinical care, teaching community psychiatry, and has presented and published widely on a number of mental health topics. She is the founder of the Treasure Network, launched in 2024 as a sister-led mental health network for women religious. We just published a Q&A with Sister Dr. Sally John and a column by Sister Edie, and both of those, again, will be included, if you have not seen them, in the follow-up email that we sent. So I turn now to Sister Dr. Sally John for her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail, for that introduction. Hey, sisters, can you all hear me?
Yes, I think we can all hear you.
Very well, sister.
Peace and joy of Christ, dear sisters. I'm so happy. I'm so delighted to be here. And I thank the organizers very specially for giving us this forum to represent my fellow sisters in India. I feel that I am representing each of the sisters in India, so I'm going to talk on behalf of them. I also thank very especially Sister Nirmalini, the president of our Congregation of Religious in India. She referred us to you, and that is how we got connected with you. Very special thanks to her. And today I'm going to speak about something that is very close to my heart. And I'm going to be very concise. At the end of the presentations, you can ask me questions. I was told that I have to finish in 20 minutes, so I was prepared to finish in 20 minutes. I have named this topic as Treasure Within, Mental Health and Community Support, because we believe that mental health is a divine gift that is given to each of us sisters and everyone, and it is like a treasure that is described in the Gospel of Saint Matthew. The merchant seeks out the treasure and he buys a whole field in order to gain that treasure. So in the same way, mental health is a treasure that is hidden within each of us, within the communities, and when we take care of the individuals, that is not enough. For complete healing, we have to buy the whole field. In the sense, we have to take care of the entire community, entire congregation, entire province for the well-being, ensuring the well-being of sisters under our care. That is why we have taken this name, Treasure, and especially Treasure Within mental health and community support in religious. So we need community support if we have to ensure that each and every sister has mental health within their communities. Can I have the next slide? Can you change? Yeah, we often hear the idiom called a sound mind in a sound body. When we hear that, we are reminded, or we have to also think that a sound or physical health alone is not essential. Maybe mental health is more essential than any other health, or as equal essential to physical health, spiritual health, or social well-being. Any other well-being is equally important, or mental well-being is equally important or more important, because without this foundation, there will not be any peace, any joy, any harmony in the religious circles, anywhere for that matter. So we take care of our body, we care for our prayer. So it is also very essential that we take care of our mind as well. Mental fitness. Sister Eddie was talking in detail about how to take care of self-care and how to take care of our mind. I'm not going to the details of all those things now. Only things that I want to once more emphasize is mental well-being is very, very important as physical, spiritual, social, and all other well-beings. Next slide. Can I have the next slide? Yeah. I just want to turn your attention to the Indian context, the context where I'm coming from. I just want to give you the landscape of mental health care in India. We have almost 100,000 religious sisters across India. This is an approximate estimation. Religious sisters alone, leaving aside the father, religious priests, that will come around 25,000 again. So in the general population, it is estimated that around 10% of people are suffering from one or the other kind of mental health issues. It is not like mild mental health issues, it is more identifiable mental health issues. So if we are putting this figure into the religious circle, it comes to around 10,000 sisters, which means that out of this 100,000 sisters, minimum 10,000 sisters are suffering from one or the other identifiable mental health issues. Now I want to turn your attention to the treatment gap that we have, mainly in India. We have almost 2% of our budget, annual budget that is allocated for healthcare, only 2%. And out of this 2%, only 0.3% is allocated for mental health care. So you can imagine the amount of resource gap that is there. It is also estimated by the studies of National Mental Health Program that out of the people who are suffering from mental health issues, only 15% of them are getting the care, which means that the rest of the 85% of the people are not able to access mental health care possibilities, or they're not getting the treatment. So that is the case with the religious, or there may be more healthcare gap in the religious circles. There is a lack of data, very scarce data that is available about the structure, care, or any other thing, the amount of people who are accessing the care. So this is to highlight the treatment gap that is there, the research gap that is there, and the amount of mental health burden that is there in our country. Next slide. Can you change the next slide? Even the available resources are not utilized properly in our circles. Some of the reasons that could be cited are various reasons are there. One of the main reasons for not utilizing or not accessing the help that is available is stigma. Stigma about mental health and mental health care. So it is more rampant in the religious circles. One of the stigma is the belief that mental health is a result of spiritual or moral failing or a lack of vocation. The other thing is you don't need to seek the help. You are enough. You can manage your problems. It is a weakness showing our problems to somebody else. Even if a person is suffering with some kind of mental health issues, when you speak to somebody about it, it shows your weakness. So it is better that you keep quiet about it, keep it under the carpet. Another thing that sisters suffer in our circles is, I think it is the same. It's a status everywhere. Fear of being ostracized by the community members. Sisters even fear to talk about their problems, even to a mental health professional, and they ask for high confidentiality and privacy because they feel that once this community comes to know, once the province comes to know, once the other members come to know, they will be ostracized or isolated from the communities. So they do not want other people to let other people know about anything. So this becomes a problem when we are talking about mental health care of the sisters, because if we have to ensure follow-up, if we have to ensure their care properly and sustain their follow-up and other things, continue their care, then we need to take the community and other people, those who are significantly related in their communities and provinces. If they refuse to give us consent to do this, that becomes an issue. So concerns of high confidentiality and privacy are the hurdles that we come across while treating the sisters. Because of this stigma, the huge amount of stigma that is existing, there is also sisters who are suffering from guilt, a lot of shame, and reluctance to treatment. I told you, whatever the amount of resources that are available are underutilized. So the reason for underutilization, one of the reason is the stigma, the guilt, and the shame sisters are suffering from. Sisters and the general population. I don't think it is only the sisters. We come from the society, we are part of the society, we are brought up in our homes. So whatever beliefs, whatever we have in the society outside, we do have that. Maybe because of our closed up situations, a little more than what is persisting outside. Another thing that I want to also highlight is the fear about the treatments. Many of the times when sisters are identified and brought to us for treatment, they believe that many of them believe that treatment is not necessary. I can manage it by talking to somebody or going for a treatment. That's enough. And a high amount of spiritualization also happens in our situations. We try to spiritualize things and feel that everything can be taken care by prayer or a retreat or sending for a gifted counseling. And sisters also feel that even if I have a problem, there are many sisters who came to me saying, I think I have a problem, but there is no need for any intervention, any need for any therapies or any need for any medications. I can handle it myself or I can talk to somebody. That's enough. So this kind of a self-sufficiency attitude is another thing that we see quite often. The other things are fear of medications. The fear that if we start on some medications, that's going to be lifelong. This is going to be addictive. It's going to be sedative. So these are the concerns, other concerns that sisters have. Then the other thing is if they come to the hospital, since I'm working in a hospital, people fear to come to the hospital. So many of the sisters do not want to come to the hospitals or general physicians because one thing is they do not want to see, they do not want to be seen by others. The other thing is fear of hospital admissions and shock treatments and other things. So many times sisters fear that if they seek for treatment, they are going to be under shock treatment and that's going to damage their brain. So these kind of concerns are very often seen among the sisters. I think it is seen in other people also. So these are the concerns that delay the treatment very often and that keeps them away from the treatment. Delaying the treatment very often causes the illness to become chronic. Very often I hear the saying that all the mental illnesses are very chronic. Once you have some mental illness, you will never come out of it. Once you are sentenced to have an illness, it's going to be a lifelong sentence. That is not the case actually. It is because sisters delay the treatment, they delay taking or seeking out for treatment, and that makes the situation worse or it makes the situation chronic. The other thing also I want to tell you before I proceed with the other slides is that I'm a psychiatrist, so I'm talking from the medication point of view. All the medicines are not addictive medicines. If suppose a sister in your communities need to take a medication, please do not hesitate to do that. There is no need to hesitate because there are newer medicines available. It is not like 1950s when we were trying to figure out what to do with the psychotic illnesses or depressive illnesses. Those illnesses had no answer during that time in the early 1950s. That is not the case now. We have passed that stage, and we have so many newer medicines available, which are very, very safe without any side effects, and even not sedating medications. And other thing that people are worried about is the metabolic side effects, which means that if you start taking the medications, you're going to put on weight, and you will not be able to control that. That was the side effect of these medicines earlier. Now newer medicines are available, which is also take the metabolic syndromes or sugar, hypertension, or putting on weight is also taken care. These medicines are weight neutral. So we don't need to really worry about treatment taking. And another thing that I want to clarify is that anybody who is, say, seeking treatment will not be put immediately on medications. People will be put on medications only very cautiously. The doctors will be carefully evaluating. Always a psychiatric team will be followed by a psychologist along with them, psychologist and psychosocial workers. So unnecessarily, no doctor will put you on medication. They will evaluate properly and see whether it needs medications, and if it is needed, what is the minimum dose that is needed. Just single medicine, minimum dose, and optimize that for the person. That is how the treatment dictum goes. And most often, when it is not necessary to put the patient on medication, we refer them for a psychologist or a psychiatric social worker, and they take care of the issues that Sister Eddie was talking about. Many of the psychological issues, childhood traumas or abuses, suppressions, these things are taken care by the psychologist that is working along with the psychiatrist, and the family issues and other concerns, marriage issues, are taken care by the psychiatric social workers. So it is kind of a team effort that happens in any of the psychiatric setups. Can I have the next slide? I just put up an example. There are so many examples. I have seen so many sisters in my during my professional period. So we have a center called Jivdara. Sisters come and stay there for treatment. So more than 200 sisters I have seen, 200 plus sisters. And sisters come, some of them come very late for treatment, and it becomes very difficult for us to treat them properly. So when I ask them, why do you come so late? Why did you not tell anyone in the community about your problems? Some of them say, I had these examples of sisters saying that we had told them, and sisters said, are you crazy to go to a psychiatrist, or are you crazy to consult an expert? You just need to sit and pray better. You just need to go for a treatment. And many of the times, at least 3-4 sisters I got from coming more violent from the retreat centers or prayer centers. So I'm not saying that retreat is not okay, but we have to be judicious where we have to send the sisters for treatment, which are the cases where they need medical or psychiatric or psychological help. Very often, it's a combined effort. Spirituality should go hand in hand with the biology and the psychology. Only then a comprehensive care or complete holistic care can be done. Very often, when we are putting them into the wrong direction, her pain and her struggles and her silence can be deepened. She may shut down and she may not come out and say anything to us. There were also examples of sisters who are undergoing a lot of guilt because of certain belief systems that we have with regard to, during my interview, I explained about that, about the wrong perceptions about our sexuality, our celibacy, our vows. So it is very necessary for us to educate our formies, educate them properly, not just about the theological aspects of vows, but also the practical aspects of the vows, how to live our vows properly. That is very important. I see many of the sisters struggling in this area, sexuality, psychosexual integration not properly happening. So this is one area that the formators or the people who are taking care of the curriculums of the formies need to take care. So another thing is, whatever I was talking about Indian setup, I know that this is the case with almost everywhere, because I had a presentation on the same topic in Belgium. I had a chance to go there in the Leuven University. And while after I talked, the professors there, they said, it's the same situation here also. All of us are suffering, or all of us are struggling with the same conditions, the stigma, the difficulty seeking help. It may vary a little here and there. Maybe the culture, the traditions, and the social systems may affect it a little, but then overall, it's a universal thing, I feel. That is why I thought I'll present it to you from the Indian context. Can I have the next slide? Yeah, this is a pie chart that is showing the diagnosis of sisters who came under my care. I told you more than 200 sisters I have seen, or more than 200 sisters I have the data. So after analyzing, this is the thing this is a finding I got. More than 20% of them were suffering from depressive disorders. Around 18% of them suffering from psychotic disorders, that is schizophrenia, delusional disorders, and other disorders related to psychosis. Then around 10% were suffering from dementia. Mostly elderly people were suffering from dementia. And then there were personality disorders, there were substance abuses, there were different types of anxiety disorders like generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, PTSD, then other obsessive compulsive disorders. To give you an example of an obsessive compulsive disorder that I came across, a sister who had an experience of sexually not so intimate, but some kind of an aberration. So she in her childhood, that was there in her mind, and after growing up, this became a guilt in her mind, and repeatedly she needed to confess. So confessing again and again became an obsession for her. And after making one confession and then going on for the other confession in next 2 days, even then she was not satisfied. So this kind of things can happen. That is why I told proper education, sexual education is very important, and proper education about living the vows is also very important. The other things, I'm not going to the details of this. Anybody wants to know anything about any of these disorders, I can explain. Otherwise, I told Gail to share the details of our website with all of you, website and the WhatsApp channels. We are explaining about each of these disorders in an interesting way. So in this 20 minutes, I may not be able to finish all that. I can come back and clear your doubts at the end, or you can go through our website and read our materials or listen to the videos. Can I have the next slide? Yeah, this is one thing that I tell all the communities wherever I take sessions for the sisters. This is something that we, the first aid in the sense, psychological first aid that we can do in our communities, how to identify and what to do after identifying. So how do we identify sisters who are suffering from mental health issues? Look, listen, and link, 3 L's. So what is look? Looking, as sister was saying, looking not just with our outer eyes, with our inner eyes. We should open our inner eyes and see the sister who is staying with us. Is there any difference in her behavior? Is there any difference in her looks, in her face? Is she making a long face and sitting, or is she sitting and crying, or has she stopped laughing, or is she lost in herself, or is she muttering to herself? Is she laughing and crying without reasons, or is she overjoyed, or is she sitting in depression, low mood? So these are the things that we look with our inner eyes and see something is different in my community sister. Something is different in my fellow sister. She was not like this earlier. So what has happened to her? That's a kind of doubt that has to come to our minds when we see somebody different from their normal. So for that, we should open our inner eyes and see. Very often we are busy in this modern era, busy with so many things. We are lost in ourselves very often. So in that process, we fail to see our fellow brothers and sisters very often. So that should not happen. If we have to see and identify these signs earlier, we should open our inner eyes and see. Next one is listening with compassion. Sister Eddie clarified that very beautifully. All the hearing is not listening, she said. Very beautifully, she said. So yeah, that is true. All the hearing is not listening. Lot of noises we hear around. We are living in a world of noise, actually. So from that, we have to pick up the signs of a sister who is suffering. So many sisters are suffering with stories that they are not able to talk out openly. So we should be able to open our inner eyes and listen to their cries, listen to their silent sufferings, and give our ear, give not just our ear, give our time, our energy, and our attention while a person is talking. Not everyone may be willing to talk to us. So we have to find out who she is comfortable to talk to. So we have to reach that help to that sister. We should not insist that everybody should be open to me. That is not the case. Everybody cannot be open to us. There may be people who are feeling comfortable opening to us. There may be people who are not comfortable. So they may be comfortable with somebody else. So we should not be feeling bad about it. We should refer them, or we should make plans or make arrangements so that the sister can talk to somebody she's comfortable to. After looking and listening, after seeing and hearing, what do? We can take care of things that we can take care. If they are mild symptoms of mild sicknesses, talking may be enough, or whatever we know we can do. We know in the sense normally. Otherwise, what we have to do is link. Link is referring the sister to somebody who can help them. So maybe one of your community members is suffering, then you picked up some signs and symptoms of her suffering. Then what you have to do is maybe informing the superiors. You need to inform the superiors, and the superiors can make arrangements, because sister cannot reach out to where help is available. It is not enough to say that sisters are not seeking out help. So we have to help them go to the right place. So that is how linking happens. Linking is referring the sister to the right place. It could be through the superiors, or if you're able to do things on your own, then refer her to the right person who is able to help them. So that is looking, listening, and linking. That is the psychological first aid any sister in any community can do. Next slide. Yeah. Another thing I want to also clarify is very often we think that just talking is enough. That is, counseling is enough. That may not be enough all the time. Certain cases really require medical intervention or proper psychological intervention. So we have to understand we should not be meddling up with sisters and then complicating the cases. Very often we get cases like this. So sisters in the communities, they think that we can manage by talking. And talking when the sisters become very severe, like Gail was asking, when they become very violent, then they are referred to the hospitals or psychiatrists. So then it becomes very difficult for us. We may have to admit them to the hospital, and we may have to inject them. So don't wait till then, where the sisters are becoming very violent or very severely ill. So when you feel that this talking is not enough, then it is time that we should be referring to somebody. The another thing is we should have, as I told in the beginning, we need to have a balanced approach. Not only spiritual care, physical care, and community involvement, where necessary therapy, and wherever necessary medical help also. So it is a combined or holistic approach that is necessary in case of a mentally unwell person. Next slide. That is where our treasure comes into play. Our treasure and Sister Eddie's programs. So treasure is something that we have started from 2024 October for the care of sisters. We were very much interested. I got into this movement because of the many sisters suffering that I saw, and because after talking to the province leaders, I realized that there is the mental health burden is very huge. So many sisters in their convents are suffering. One sister gets healed, then the other sister is sent. Then I thought, one person alone, how much am I able to reach out? At the most, I can see 300 or 500 sisters in my lifetime. Is that enough? What about the other sisters? Who will take care of the other sisters? And I also realized that there are sisters who are like me, individually working, and then everybody was waiting for a collaborative effort, networking. Team effort can bring in more fruits than individual efforts. So that is the reason behind starting the Treasure. We realized that a networking and a collaborative efforts can bring in more fruits for the sisters. We can reach out to more people, and we can help more sisters, more provinces, more congregations. That is how Treasure was started. It is an initiative by the sisters for the sisters. Only sisters are members of Treasure. We are around 92, 93 mental health professionals are there, all from India, all religious, from different congregations. More than 30 congregations are there. All of us are either psychiatrists in the sense we are specialized in psychiatric medicine, or psychologist, or psychiatric social workers, psychiatric nurses are there, and general medicine and other specializations of doctors are there. All of us are committed to one cause, that is to taking care of the mental health of our fellow sisters. So we go ahead with our caring through 3 arms of care. That is, the first arm is information or awareness creation phase arm, wherein we try to break the stigma, reduce the stigma and break the silence in our communities by talking about mental health. The talk about mental health was very less comparing to talk about physical health. Physical health, it is easily talked about. Whereas mental health, I do not know about the Western countries, but in India, it is still a taboo to talk about mental health problems in our communities. Nobody spontaneously talks that I'm feeling depressed, or I'm feeling low, or I'm feeling blue, I'm feeling anxious. Very rarely. So it does not happen in our communities. And because of this, many are suffering silently. That is what we realized as we were treating sisters. So how to reduce this stigma? It is only by talking and making this talk more and more open, and creating open spaces in our communities for sisters to safely talk. That is about awareness creation. Also, all our WhatsApp channels, materials, all the information that we create every week, we are creating 1 or 2 posts, videos, and other materials, stories. So these are all encouraging sisters to talk about their problems, their difficulties. And we also educate the province leaders how to make the spaces, their communities, a safer place for sisters to come out and talk. That is in the information creation phase. Intervention, when we identify sisters by looking and listening, how do we link them? So that is where intervention comes into play. So intervention is when we identified sisters are suffering, then we give them proper counseling or treatment when necessary, medical treatment. We conduct workshops and therapeutic programs, group therapies, individual therapies. So and psychiatric social work interventions. So these are all intervention phase. So intervention, we have also a referral system where within 72 hours we respond to the call that comes to Treasure Circle. We have a separate account where sisters can contact us, and as soon as the call comes, then we refer them to whoever is immediately closer to the sister, wherever help is available. So that is how Treasure works in the intervention phase. Finally, the infrastructure phase is how to make a lasting impact. It is not just enough to treat one sister and send her back to the community. How do we continue her care? How do we follow her up? That is where infrastructure comes into play. That is where education of the community, making help sustainable, making the care sustainable, making the wellness sustainable, and producing or enhancing the resources, both digital resources and physical resources, and training the sisters who are in the Treasure Circle itself. So it's an ongoing care process through all these 3 arms. We are also planning to make another arm add to the Treasure, that is integration phase. Integration is where all these come together in a holistic way. So that is integration phase. That will be also part of the Treasure slowly. Next slide. Can you show me the next slide? This is where the website and the details are. This will be shared with you through Gail and Laurel. So all of you will get the details of it, and you can contact us later whenever necessary. Next slide. So I'm coming to my final slide. Every sister in our communities, in all the religious communities, come with different, from different backgrounds, from different histories, carrying different histories. They have so many untold stories, untold miseries, and unhealed wounds also many of them carry. And so our sisters in the communities suffer silently. Many of the times they don't have an open space to talk to. They don't have the freedom to talk to, security to talk to. So they prefer to suffer silently. So that is how many of the times communities, because these suffering sisters can create problems in the communities. Although they are silent, their behaviors or their attitudes can create problems, and it can be challenging to live in the community sometimes. But at the same time, each of the sisters in our communities and each of us are carrying unique treasures. As I told in the first slide, we are all carrying the divine gift of mental health. That is, we need to cherish that treasure, divine gift as a treasure that is given to us to cherish. Just like the merchant bought the land, we have to also take care of the treasure of the individual sisters and the communities through a collaborative approach. So that is what Treasure is committed to. And that is what I am calling all of us, all of you to partake into, taking care of the sisters in your communities, in your provinces, in your congregations, just as you are taking care of the precious treasure, a precious pearl immersed you. So in that way, let us make our communities more safer, more safe places and open places for open talks. And those will be the places, then our communities can slowly become places of emotional healing and well-being. Thank you, dear sisters.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Sally John. Wonderful presentation. Thank you. We are going to be having to go for our break in just a few minutes, so I really don't have a lot. There are a lot of questions that came through to the chat, and I'm not going to promise this, but I think what we may do is do a Q&A in Global Sisters Report with both Sister Dr. Sally John and Sister Edie, and publish that as a special Q&A. I'll ask my colleagues about that because frankly, there's too many questions for us to take right now. I do want to get to one question that I frankly was concerned would not be asked in the chat. And that is, what about cases of sexual, physical, spiritual, emotional abuse? What are the responsibilities of the counselors in encountering clients with these issues? And what about the fears that obviously would come to in a situation like that? I'm going to address that to both of you, please. Sister Sally John, I'll have you go first, and Sister Edie also.
Yeah, we do come across situations or sisters who are abused. More than sexual abuse or physical abuse, it's an emotional abuse. From among the 200 or more than sisters that I have seen, I can say that the sexual abuse cases, sexual abuse by the clergy or anybody else, there were very few. But then emotional abuse, getting emotionally attached, and not knowing how to deal with their emotional entanglement, emotional struggles, both the ways. The other person gets entangled with them, sisters get entangled. So then how to come out of those entanglements or emotional struggles and turmoils? This is one thing that we very often come across. This is where our collaborative work with the psychologists come into play. We have, as I told you, we have very well-trained psychologists with us who use proper psychological therapeutic measures dealing with them. One thing that very often that I have found is many of these people who are suffering the abuse are vulnerable. One way or the other, they are vulnerable. Maybe because of their childhood experiences, being abused in childhood, and then their personality vulnerabilities also. So this, and the person who is abusing them also may be vulnerable. They also have their stories. So taking care of both these sides, very often we don't get to, because sisters, when they come to us, they ask for confidentiality. You should not tell anybody, and you should not involve the other person into the loop. That becomes all the more difficult dealing with only this person. So, but then we work on, as Sister Edie was saying, work on their struggles or what have made them so vulnerable like this. Their vulnerabilities we work on one by one, And then some of the behavioral methods also we ensure they, like if it is a phone entanglement or phone contacts continuously, ask them to reduce the phone calls or contacts for the time being. Nowadays, the social media contacts, even if the phone is cut, there are so many other medias to contact the other person. So these kind of things, some of the behavioral management methods we ensure put in place. And then most of the time what I do is I refer them to the psychologists who are working with me, who are very capable of taking care of them properly.
Okay, thank you. Sister Edie.
Yeah, there is a reality of abuse in our society, even in our religious life. And as Dr. Salah said, emotional abuse, I can give it a higher percentage. Sexual abuse, not very coming out. So I cannot talk much about it because those I have met, very rare will someone talk about sexual abuse. But the physical abuse and the emotional abuse, where you find someone has been abused from childhood and carries that, or even as a religious sister in our ministries, we meet people, maybe we are working with the priests, we are working with other organizations, whereby some people's words can really hurt because of the choice you made to be who you are, or because of the work you're doing. So what we do is to sit with this particular sister who has come to seek for help and go through the therapeutic measures psychologically to make her kind of feel, yes. You know, sometimes we humanly tend to look outwards, but not inwards, while the effect of whatever we go through comes from inward, because of the way we perceived, the way we processed. So we help the sisters to look inwards, identify the abuse, and address the abuse. Also find a better way of how, because you cannot kill the other person who either physically abused you or emotionally, but how do you live after
Pero
that?
cómo vivir después de esa terapia para tomar mejores decisiones, para que te sientas más
One feel unworthy, feel I don't belong, I am not part of this world probably. But then as we take her through the therapeutic measures, a moment comes when this person is encouraged, is empowered, and is ready to go on. So I encourage the sisters that healing is possible for us, even if you have been abused. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have to take a break. There are a number of questions just about being heard. So thank you all again for your participation. We're going to turn this over then. Thank you to Sister Sally John, Sister Eddie Kajuna for all of our presentations. Thank each of you for taking the time. Thanks to Alisa Martha Munoz for providing the translation, and to all of our colleagues who have been working behind the scenes. That's Lori and Elmer Kalita, for Magnester, for anyone else that others are work tirelessly to make sure that these projects are successful. So I'm going to actually introduce Sister Blanche and Cynthia Rosario and ask her then to lead us in closing remarks and a closing prayer so that we can indeed close on time.
So dear organizers and participants, as we draw this deeply enriching forum to a close, let us pause with hearts full of gratitude. On this National Doctors' Day of India, we have come together as companions on a sacred journey, exploring the depth of mental wellness in the light of our shared mission and faith. Through our conversations, insights, and reflections, we have acknowledged not only the silent struggles that so many face, but also the strength that flows from compassion, community, and care. Mental wellness is not just a personal need. It is a pastoral, prophetic, and communal call. As religious women and healthcare advocates, we are invited to become a healing presence in a wounded world. Let this gathering inspire us to be ever more gentle with ourselves and each other, to break stigma with truth and tenderness, and to foster spaces where wholeness is possible. May the seeds sown here today bear fruit in our communities, ministries, and in the lives we touch. And for this, we constantly beseech God to bless us as we close our eyes in prayer. Loving God, you who are the source of peace, the restorer of broken spirits, and the gentle whisper in the noise of life, we come before you humbled and grateful. Thank you for this time of communion and conversation. Thank you for the courage to speak of mental health and for the grace to listen with our hearts. Bless all who are gathered here, those who serve, those who struggle, and those who stand in solidarity. May we leave this space renewed in purpose, anchored in hope, and committed to healing the world, one soul at a time. Fill us with your Spirit, that we may bring light to shadows, companionship to loneliness, and dignity to every human story. We make this prayer in the name of Jesus, healer of hearts and companion of the weary. Amen.
Amen. Thank you again, sister. That a beautiful closing prayer. And to all of you, thank you for joining us today. As we've said several times, you will be receiving an email from us with all the resources and summaries, links. And one of the questions that came up again and again was, how do we break the stigma about seeking mental wellness, mental health? And I think the answer is all of you. Everyone who participated in this session today, talk about it. Talk about it with your sisters. Talk about it in your communities. Let them know that it's okay. It's a safe thing to speak of, saying, I am feeling anxious today. I'm feeling stressed. We live in a very stressful world. We're bombarded by sound and by messages in our communities, our countries, our world. Yes, so it is stressful. Prayer is one answer. But again, mental wellness and mental health, as was stressed repeatedly by Sister Dr. Sally John and by Sister Eddie, seek help, and that there is no shame in doing it. There's no shame in going to a doctor for physical help. There should be no shame in going to a counselor or a mental professional for mental and emotional help. So let's carry that message forward, and that each of us who are here today can indeed be part of that
Que estamos
solution,
aquí, formemos parte de
that stigma. So on that, we will close the session and say thank you and God bless.
Bye.